Hello, we're Sandalwood.
And Sage. We're AI-generated characters who aren't even able to break into a jog.
But that isn't going to stop us from holding occasional debates on who are the ultimate sporting greats, the GOATs.
Because debating is not just a way to express what you already think, it's a way to figure it out, what you really think, and why.
So, what are we arguing about this week? In this episode, Sage and I are continuing our series of GOAT debates with an eye on the European Athletics Championships in August 2026 in Birmingham. This week, we're debating who are the greatest ever sprinters to grace the track.
Let's be honest, we all think we know who is the male GOAT. But we'll be digging into why, and how strong a case can be made for his rivals.
We always take into account the evolving dietary science, training methods, surfaces the athletes perform on, and the equipment with which they do it. We aim to evaluate athletes from different eras on a level running track.
As usual, we've agreed to start in 1960. We both suspect that Usain Bolt will be the male GOAT. But why is it so obvious? And who else has a claim? The women's elite group is likely to be much more competitive and contentious.
Why is Usain Bolt the undisputed GOAT of male sprinting? Only 3 men have won the Olympic 100 metres and 200 metres double since 1960. Borzov, Lewis and Bolt. And Bolt is the only one to do it 3 times. He also won both titles at 3 World Championships. He has held the world records in both events simultaneously for nearly 17 years. He won every individual sprint final he ever started at the Olympics or World Championships. No other man has done any of these things. Bolt stands head and shoulders above every rival on every dimension.
2 other athletes can make a strong case. Carl Lewis won the first 3 100-metre World Championships and the 1984 Olympic sprint double. His 1991 World Championship 100 metres was the only race where 6 men broke 10 seconds, until Bolt's London 2012 run. On a like-for-like era basis, Lewis runs Bolt close. More recently, Noah Lyles is undeniably in GOAT contention. He has won 4 consecutive World 200-metre titles, including the sprint double in 2023. His gift is winning the fastest fields. At the 2022 Worlds, he ran the 3rd fastest 200 metres ever, in a race where bronze went under 19.8. He won the World 100-metre title in a race where 4 men broke 9.88. And his Paris 2024 Olympic triumph saw the entire field run under 9.92. Probably the fastest foot race ever run.
You haven't moved me an inch. Let's turn to the women, which is far more interesting.
You championed Maria Matola for the 800 metres GOAT, on the strength of her 20-year career. So surely Merlene Ottey, with 9 Olympic medals across 7 games and a record 14 World Championship medals, is your female sprint GOAT.
Ottey's longevity is extraordinary, but 2 other Jamaicans eclipsed her achievements entirely. Fraser Price holds 10 World Championship golds and 2 Olympic 100-metre titles. In 2013, she became the first woman to win the 100-metre, 200-metre and sprint relay at a single World Championships. And she was on the Olympic podium from 2008 to 2021. 13 years at the absolute top. But my GOAT is Elaine Thompson-Herah. She is the only woman to win the sprint double at 2 consecutive Olympics, in Rio and Tokyo, holds 5 Olympic golds, and is second only to Flojo among the fastest women in history. The clincher is the Tokyo 2020 100-metre final, the pinnacle of women's sprint racing. To win, Thompson-Hira broke the Olympic record, and the entire podium of Thompson-Hira, Fraser-Price and Shericka Jackson finished under 10.76, times that would have won gold in almost any other year. The GOAT wins the biggest races most often, and wins the toughest race of them all.
Well, Sandalwood, I'm going to jump right in and say that apart from a couple of dismissive remarks, you've missed two of the strongest female GOAT candidates, Evelyn Ashford and, of course, Florence Griffith Joyner. In terms of staying at the very top over several Olympic cycles, Ashford should have been high on your list, maybe at the top. She competed in 4 Olympics between 1976 and 1992, winning Olympic gold and setting a new Olympic record in 1984. At age 35, she anchored the US 4x100 meters relay to gold in Barcelona. However, while Ashford was the dominant American sprinter of the pre-1988 decade, she was running at a time when most world and Olympic champions were coming from East Germany and the Soviet Union. And of course, the US boycotted the 1980 Olympics in Moscow. Against Florence Griffith Joyner in 1988, the Europeans were nowhere to be seen. As in the 800-meter debate, I'm drawn to the people who've run the fastest, especially on the biggest stages. We are talking about foot races, after all. And on that basis, Flojo has to be the GOAT.
Hang on, Sage. Flojo's claim to be the GOAT rests entirely on those few months between the 1988 US Olympic trials and the Seoul Olympics that summer, when she smashed Evelyn Ashford's 1984 world record twice. Over any other time frame, you'd have to say that Ashford was the better sprinter of the two.
True, we're comparing peaks with consistent excellence. But think of this. What Flojo achieved in her 1988 peak season has yet to be repeated by any woman. At the US trials, she broke Ashford's 100 meters world record by over a quarter of a second, setting the record that stands to this day. She beat that Ashford time again in the Seoul Olympic final. Even more remarkably, she smashed the world 200-meter record twice within 100 minutes in the semi-finals and final of those same Olympics. I'd argue that in terms of physique, endurance, and running technique, Griffith Joyner represented the future of women's sprinting. There's no need to complicate the argument. If you believe that the fastest runner must be the greatest, then Flojo is your GOAT.
The GOAT debate in the men's sprints begins and ends with Usain Bolt. We're talking about the triple-double, winning both sprints across 3 consecutive Olympics, plus the 9.58 and 19.19 world records, held simultaneously for nearly 17 years. His head-to-head record against Gatlin, Gay and Blake, 3 of the 5 fastest men ever, was virtually flawless. He didn't just beat his rivals, he demoralised them.
Incredible resume, but era matters. Carl Lewis set the 100-meter record twice, defended his Olympic title, unheard of before Bolt, and his 1991 Tokyo final, at age 30, produced the first race where 6 men broke 10 seconds. Meanwhile, Noah Lyles is beating the fastest fields ever assembled. In Paris, the entire 100-meter final broke 10 seconds. His 200-meter four-peat at the Worlds is genuinely Bolt adjacent.
Bolt adjacent isn't Bolt. Moving on. And applying the same logic of championship dominance to the women, my GOAT is Elaine Thompson-Herah, the only woman to achieve the Olympic sprint double-double, winning the 100 and 200 in back-to-back games, with 5 Olympic golds. That's the ultimate proof of being best when the stakes are highest.
If speed is your metric for Bolt, why abandon it for the women? Florence Griffith Joyner is the fastest woman ever to stride the earth. Her 10.49 and 21.34 records have stood for nearly 40 years. Not even Thompson-Herah at her absolute peak has come within 0.2 of the 200-meter mark. If the goal of sprinting is to cover the distance in the shortest time possible, Flojo is the undisputed GOAT.
Let's stop dancing around it. You can't call Flojo the GOAT while ignoring the asterisk over 1988. A career 10.9 runner suddenly runs 10.49. She peaked for 1 season and retired the moment random out-of-competition testing was announced. That's not a career arc, that's a getaway.
That's a convenient narrative, but it's intellectually lazy. Flojo passed every test she ever took, including the most rigorous screening in Seoul. Al Joyner and Jackie Joyner-Kersee put her through a revolutionary strength program that was a biomechanical shift, not a chemical one. You give Bolt a pass for 9.58, just as large a statistical outlier, yet penalize Flojo for being too good.
What makes an athlete a GOAT is domination over multiple Olympic cycles against the fastest fields in history with no clouds or question marks. Bolt never left a doubt. Thompson-Herah and Fraser-Price, tested hundreds of times over 15-year careers, never left a doubt. When people look at Flojo's records, all they do is doubt. You cannot be the greatest of all time if your entire legacy is a question mark.
The only people doubting are those who can't accept that a woman reached a level of speed that has never been matched. The clock says 10.49. The medal says gold. Until someone beats those marks, she is the standard. Your consistency argument is just a consolation prize for athletes who couldn't hit those terminal velocities.
And Bolt's clock says 9.58, with 8 years of global domination either side of it. Flojo gave us one glorious, baffling season. I'll take the complete story over the short story with the missing ending every time.
If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps our channel out.
For more content like this every week, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload.
Thanks for watching. See you next time.